So in this position, there's a couple of combinations. You've got what the pelvis is doing underneath, but also with the way the elbow relates to the pelvis. Most people don't realize that the elbow should naturally look for its horizon. When the elbow is fixed, meaning this part won't cross midline, it affects that whole spinal relationship with the pelvis. So here, the spine can sway and the clavicles and shoulder blades act more like the scales in a market type thing. The Gemini scales type, what are the? But when the elbow goes up like this, then this whole mechanism is inhibited by the elbow. So one of the easiest moves I can do is I'm rotating her elbow, but I'm looking for the extension in the biceps to come down into the elbow.
But if the shoulder blade is compromised, then can you do that?
Yeah. Because I should be able to, let me move this camera a little bit more. I should be able to keep my shoulder blade completely fixed and have an independent arm.
Okay.
Most people think it's that whole mechanism, which that I get, but I can be totally like this and still have minimal extension or do things.
Okay. So the chest is not so involved?
No, right, well, it is, but right now I'm giving you one lesson that you can do. So again, I'm just going right above the elbows, and I'm bringing back, when I do, see how my hand's on her belly? I'm lightly rotating her down into her right pelvis.
Okay.
Poco, really minimal. Right now I want the synchronizing with the pelvis, the sway of the spine, and the how the arm's moving. Eventually I'm going to bring the pelvis back and start bringing that arm forward, but even she's feeling that that's a little difficult. A lot of these activities you have to think of as walking. If I can't get a child to walk backwards, then they can't go forward. You know, that's where you want them to be able to do both. So I'm going up the bicep right now. I'm rotating, but when I rotate, I'm always going with the elbow going down. So I'm not pulling her back. See that? That's different. I'm going to get the shoulder mechanisms, so I'm not going back. I'm rotating the elbow down. And there, now her pelvis is really starting to react to this, or respond. But what I want her to do is, as she moves the arm, she's going to balance and counterbalance through the pelvis and the spine. So I'm not looking for her to be here stiff and just move her arm. I'm looking for, again, see how nicely already she can rotate her elbow? And she'll automatically react to the right. If I take this same move and do her left, see how you're not even attached to your pelvis. She's not used to being felt up by me, because it's funny how when you think. So now I'm going to come around the back, and now I'm going to go forward. But I'm still bringing the pelvis back.
Okay.
So the hand is still here on the pelvis and rotating down into the right pelvic girdle, but the arm now is going, just starting to rotate forward. I'm not looking for movement, I'm looking more of a synchronizing. As the pelvis moves, the arm moves. But if a child has an issue with just this initial movement, then the rest is going to be just way too much momentum and not have the fine skills that they need. So now what's actually starting to happen on her is her chest cavity is actually starting to pull and elongate into the pelvis versus just her tush doing it.
Okay.
So feel that? If that doesn't make sense to you, right? But see the difference here? Yeah, but see, if you're worried about falling and breathing, what do you think's going to win? You're right. You don't want to fall, so your breathing will go. So I'm going to go back and forth a little bit, so a couple of times forward and then a couple of times backwards. But again, when I say backwards, I'm rotating that bicep to and from. But when I rotate to, again, I'm bringing that pelvis back as the arm goes forward. So now what I'm doing is I'm underneath the elbow, and I'm now pulling down on the bicep and just rotating that pelvis, the elbow just a little bit. But when I do that, I'm going to pull in towards the spine. So I'm no longer going right because I don't want her top heavy. I'm just going down into her tailbone as I'm extending, there we go, the arm out, away from the spine.
Okay.
Now this, I can sit here and have her eventually where my knee will be a goal, but see, she just fell that bit. So, just like we were talking about the other day, hold on. I can have different levels of the floor that I'm working with to do this same lesson, to allow her that contact or that ability to go over without the fear of falling. So I can use my leg, I can use a pillow, here are the different falls, I can use my... But see, I'm trying to do it in a way where she's not going to fall. Or be concerned that she's going to fall. What's nice too about having the pillow at this point, now I can bring her elbow back a little bit and do the same kind of lesson. But see how the rotation of the elbow is bringing the hand up and down. So what's happening naturally, and I can bring my knee into this, is her arm is starting to, sorry, when I move, don't hold on to the, what I'm looking for here is see that the elbow and the arm can counter each other that way. So I'm rotating back and see now how the hand is coming up, rotating forward and see how the hand's going down. And now I can keep the arm stable and then go into the shoulder now and move the shoulders around the arm. And then I can go back and see if that made a difference and see now she's nice and engaged. So that being said, I can turn around and move this ball here. If I'm going too fast, tell me to slow down.
No, I'm recording it. It's okay. Okay.
Now I can be here. Now my hand is still around her waist. You can't see it because the ball's here. But my hand is also touching the top of the ball. So you can see my hand here is on the ball. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm holding her elbow like that little strawberry pick or a small knot. And I'm going to be rotating the ball just a little bit and rotating the elbow. And one of the things that could also happen is I can start swaying the elbow out and in. So not only am I rolling it forward, but I'm rolling it so the elbow can go in and out around.
With a stack arm, what do we do?
Oh, don't worry about the arm. Just hold the roller and,
Okay.
and work around the pelvis and the back of the elbow.
Okay.
But what should start to happen right about now, what she's starting to do is she's naturally now leaning into the ball, but her body is not leaving the chair.
But her body?
Is not leaving the chair. She's so happy with her pelvis here that I can go forward now. See? Like she's leaning forward a little bit, but it's still nice and smooth. Her pelvis is rotating and she's going around her arm. If I went with this arm and did that, see how much more she goes forward. See her momentum in the head? But on this side, oops, losing my balls. The difference now, see how that she rotates and the arm goes in and out. But the momentum here on her head is pretty stable. She's not tilting. So now this, I don't know if you can do in the seating position that you have. To show you quickly, there's all my stuff here. I'm here on the elbow, I'm in her back. And see how she can rotate. Her back can rotate around the arm. And then I can come back and she can rotate around that. There, now feel how much I can actually go and bring her arm out and she can just rotate that whole spine around the arm. This exercise is excellent for people too that are in really high-end sports. Any instability they have on the head throws off their time, and of course the same thing with the kids. That instability or that synchronization makes it more fatiguing to operate. So I'll take the ball out for a sec. You don't have to move the roller, I'm just showing you the difference. So even now in this position, and she's much lighter now for me to be here to start working with extension, whereas at this side, she's not rotating and it's a lift. See how this is much more of a transfer of your weight, and this is a lift. So if I go, if I go like that, see how much you contract just to hold that arm? Whereas here, see the difference? This is the belly. See? Now I'd rather, that I'll dance with, right? But this, see the difference? One side's a ballerina, the other side's a duck. So I'm just going to go back to the original move and just see, you know, again, you don't have to move the roller, I'm just doing this, it's all being recorded. So now what I can do, that I found her wrist, so I'm going to bring the ball back, bring it back more towards the elbow here. And again, I have my hand around her pelvis still. Now as I rotate the wrist in towards the thumb, I'm tilting her to her left pelvis, just very minutely.
And why the opposite pelvis?
Because again, with our kids, they go into lift mode for everything versus transfer of weight. I should be to grabbing anything. I should be transferring my weight constantly. It should be calculations. Lift, lift. This is all lift. So when I go to lift, I now am off my pelvis. So the more, again, where he's going to use these hands and he has his pelvis, less momentum here. If I'm keeping my pelvis stiff and I go to lift something, especially above my shoulder, I have to get my head out of the way. And now again, I'm protecting that momentum of the fall versus what I had my attention on.
Makes sense.
And in anybody, the more and more you can synchronize them, even with Megan here, it just improves their overall functions.
You say sometimes I could do the same exercise when sleeping.
Oh yeah.
But I don't have it so clear because normally he tends to be stuck when he has an intentional movement. So what do we win trying it when he has an intentional movement? Am I clear?
Yeah, but I mean, again, I didn't think that when they were sleeping it would work, but I think they're just softer when they sleep, and it just makes a difference. I also think it helps your hand as a practitioner, because when they sleep, you don't have so much intent because there's not actions always involved. And it's that time that I just got to just snuggle with my son, you know what I mean, while he was asleep in my arms, and I could do this kind of stuff. Whereas before, when they're awake, you're constantly, like you said, you need more hands and you're an octopus sometimes.
Okay.
But I swear that's why, one of the main reasons I do feel I have a very gentle touch, because I'm working on Megan no different than I would work on Grant. So this is a very unusual move that he can't do and really should be worked on. So you're going to bring your thumb into the elbow this way and fingers over here. Now this is skiing, driving a car, all of these moves. I'm going to be bringing her pelvis in. I'll move the camera if I need to. But I'm going to rotate out and actually torque myself. So it's like, you know, if I was stopping on ice skates, I'm trying to think of just more visual stuff. Again, that counter on a motorcycle or a bicycle, but it's that counter. Pelvis to one side. But I really need to move my body too, because I want that counter really to show in. So see, I'm pulling her away from me, so it's a counter. If I kept my body straight, she's not going to do the movement.
Okay.
If I move it, she'll counter me. And this is like dancing. And this is where you can bring in the vision too and say, you know, look at me, and look at me, you know, and work that way as well. But the ball is nice. Now here, she's really stuck between the ulna and the radius, mid-arm. So I slow down again until she gets it. There she goes. But this is full shoulder rotation. If my ulna and the radius can't do this, again, where my elbow is countering my hand, this isn't going to happen. But also what this is good for is picking up bulk, where the elbows come around and I can grab a large item. That's one of the things that people go, oh my God, I can't believe that they can suddenly lift things. Because they're not only doing two hands, but again, see, my pelvis comes back, I counter, and I go around a ball or a box.
Okay.
So those are where these moves lead into. But just again to show the difference from side to side with Megan. So see how nice that is? And see how you're, see the difference? See also now, look at her rotation. So go to, pretend you're reaching the chair. So see now how she can go and reach, right? Here, I'll just give more of the camera for her. Reach. Now do the other arm. See how I can't rotate her upper chest cavity, so her reach is totally here what she can reach. So she's getting at least another 6 to 8 inches off of her extension just through the spine because she can't counter. So all I'm doing here now is bringing her back. Now, again, where I can use the ball here, I can put it right on her spine, my chest against her. Now this is an interesting position, but see now, it changes the way she rotates, but it gives her stability. And what I can do this way, see, hold on, move the camera. So if I'm this way, right, now what I can do is I have more of an opportunity if I want to bring her back and see how the back functions. So I can do here where it's a reach and coming back. If I was around her, it would just look different. So if I came here like this, feel the difference with your back? See, by stabilizing the spine, it gives her more of that feeling of counterbalance, where there's too many gaps. Even though I'm a big girl, here she can, and then bounce off of me. I can use this ball for her to have that tonus quality back in the spine when she's coming back. You can get a cheap ball at Walmart. It doesn't have to be necessarily an egg. Just get a ball. Now this is probably too deflated, but I mean, just something that you can deflate. And see, even with this now, I have more of that where I can work with that quality. But I want her to learn that she can bring her arm to her mouth and come backwards, and not it always being Whereas on this side, I haven't done this side. See already? Look at the difference. Her butt totally contracted just to hold that arm up. Whereas here, again, she's transferring weight and coming back up. Do you feel that now? Is that more evident?
Yeah.
Or apparent? So I can come lower with the ball and just, again, bringing her in to me. Because I'm looking for that tonus, that almost like a bow and arrow spring. So yeah, you're holding the head. So if we're doing that, no, don't give me your head. I'll hold it for you. So see how I am? I have her chin. But with the ball here, I still can be holding the head, and then still work on skills. And bringing her arm towards the table. Now I can lightly separate her jaw from her arm, or I can have her look over towards it. But what's nice is I have the weight of her body in my arm, so if I feel her come too heavy, even like let's see here where she's bearing weight, rotate the arm and just bring her right back. And she should be able to just spring back into position. And if you don't believe me, I'll come over here. See how there's no spring? So, here, see how the tonus is just like, see, this is where I believe the opposition of gravity in Newton's third law. There should be, for every action, there's a reaction. So when I shoot off like this, just like an astronaut shooting a gun off in space, the bullet will go this way and my hand should go automatically away. That's standing up. But when we don't have a good opposition to gravity, then I have to bring, or that tonus isn't there, where I can just, in a sense, throw her. I should be able to throw a body. But on this side, to throw her, I mean, it's more like throwing a ball. Because it's more of that mass. She's just, the left side succumbs to gravity, and this one's opposing gravity. And then I can just go back to the first movement. Bringing my hand around the pelvis. So see now how much quicker she is with that movement? Boom, boom, boom. That tonus, that acceleration changes. But you can do this while he's holding a car, playing with his dad. It doesn't have to be a fixed position.
But when he's playing with his car, he's in W sitting and with his arm stuck and the other trying to get something.
Right.
No, I have tried to, but no.
Yeah, but you're still looking for the results. You have to do it even though you just are just enjoying the process.
Yeah, but if he has his arm stuck, supporting him, so I can do the same.
I know you can't do the same, but you still have to offer the opportunity, hoping that you can break into the system. I know that part's a frustrating time, but like I always say, that to me is like having a seizure. I have to work through it and just still offer them so they learn not to be that's their go-to. Don't get me wrong, I can look at myself in the mirror going, oh my gosh, and want to change stuff, but so what I'm doing here just lightly is just rotating into her femur, into the hip joint, just offering a little bit of a rotation but a lift. And now I'm going to grab her tush, and now rotate and go down, and I'm tilting with the left hand. But again now, I don't want her to fall over. I want that tush to be able to look for the floor, like her elbow. So she's not doing it right, so I'm coming into her mid-back on the left side, bending and pushing her down. So what I'm doing here is, see as I'm extending these rib cages here? So now I can come here again and see if she's got it more. There you go. What?
She's not doing it right.
Well, every time I say that, I'm already working on changing it, so it doesn't matter. So now her tush does complete circles. See, now her pelvis is getting nice and quick. So I can go back again with the arm here. Now again, if I want to put more of her hand, now it's not such a big deal to come over to the floor. Before, when I started, remember how that seemed so far away? So I can literally do the same lesson all over again. Hand around the waist, rotating, but just bringing her weight from her tush to the palm of her hand. Back to the tush, to the palm of her hand. So now I'm into the hand, and back into the tush. Hand and tush. Just walking up and down her arm, but this time the bicep goes out. Now I can go to the tush, but what I don't want is the hand to then leave the table. So what I'm doing once I bring it back, I want that extension to come through the palm. And what you can eventually do with this is slowly, I'm going to come in a little bit, rotate the wrist, and the same thing, down into the table, and back into the tush, into the table, and this will really help with those proprioceptive responses. But also she's going to learn how far her arm can work around her body without having it to move. So I can bring it back more. Bring her back and then go forward. And now from all of that, you can go back to that extension. Hold on, you're getting more me than her. See how now much more now even how soft her arm is. Same thing now to bring her elbow over to her knee or to her leg. Now she doesn't care what I do with her. Whereas over on this side, she's really going to feel like she falls. I can even now bring her now all the way over to this table and again work this way. Sorry. Where I'm bringing her weight to the elbow and then to the tush. Elbow and to the tush. And then bring her back up. It should stay. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. But see now, again, more of her. See how, so now reach with the right arm and with the left. See the difference? Okay, so hyperextend your arm and bring it out. So even in this position, I still would work and see if I can convince him to. Let me see if I can. Don't really look like him. Yeah. So see, you can definitely be doing these lessons. It's not going to be the same degree, but you're still going to be able to work with that so he can learn possibly how to balance better in his spine around the arm than needing to work like that. Right. See, that's what I'm doing. I have her hyperextending the arm and stuff. So you can still go in there and do the lesson. So now what I can do too is, again, just hyperextend. I can be even around the neck. It's okay. Where I'm on her chin. And still work underneath the palm of the hand. So I'll show you it from this side. So I'm underneath the palm of her hand and see up around the neck. So see how I'm still synchronizing her head movements with the spasticity in the arm. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And even from that, again, so now reach with the right and reach with the left. So she's starting to feel more and more deformed because her left hand can't do it the right.
Like,
So again, hyperextend it. So even in this position now, I'm on the back. I'm going to come in with the ball. So I'm leaning up against her. And so even with that, see, I can work with the rotation of the back, even with the hyperextended arm. I'm not saying it's easy, but it still facilitates learning.
No, but if Abel is playing, I cannot do that.
No, I know, but it's also hard when he's playing on a large surface. So that's why I was saying with the PVC pipe around the table where it contains the toys where you can work with him in sitting or... So are you ready for Christmas?
No, I don't. For luggage and presents, no, thank you. And you?
I have the tree up.
We too, but we have a tree that seems from a cemetery.
That's a good one.
It's better if I don't send you the photo. You would be scared of us.
In this United
No. Andres is offering to bring it here. No.
in America we call that a Charlie Brown tree.
Charlie Brown tree?
Yeah, because of Charlie Brown's Christmas.
Perhaps.
What? But just see the difference in her tush. Hold on. Just from that lesson, and again, hold on. I never used the ball before, it works well. So just from that, see how the tonus in her right, but from her left. See how she just wants to tilt? Just the difference in what I can do with her even versus this side.